Let me move on the line.
Morning, everyone. Can you help? Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Welcome. I'd like to say a very happy new year to everybody. Please, can you help mute your mics? Can you help mute your mics, please? Thank you. Thank you to everyone who is muting their mics. Pleased to have a very, very great and effective webinar. It would be nice for us to keep our mics muted. As it is being posted in the house rules, I'd like everyone to quickly take, spend maybe like 10 seconds or so to just read through, please, so we can have a very, very good and effective meeting. Again, I say Happy New Year to everyone. Thank God for keeping us to see another year. Great to have you join us once again. I can see the chats, the people in the chat box. Thank you everyone for joining. I can see the participants, really running high. It's going, a lot of people are joining in. We expect much more people to join in. And so we probably will just give maybe like 2 minutes with your permission, 2 more minutes, and then we kick off and go into it, because we really want to, spend maybe about 2 hours and everyone can go about their businesses. Again, my name is Abayomi, and welcome once again to TTN's web events, right? And basically what we do is to improve teaching and learning for teachers, both personal and professional developments, basically taking teachers to the next level, seeing teachers as professionals that they really are. So thank you everyone for joining. You can spread the word, you can inform your colleagues, tell them that we are up and running, and we would see you soon. Welcome, Mrs. Ugochi. I remember the name because we had a discussion on WhatsApp just yesterday. Thank you for joining in. I see a lot of people joining in from several places. We'll talk about where you're joining in from. You can put in the chat box where you are joining in from. Of course, I see Queen's College. Queen's College, I see you. Okay, Olukosi Onitolo Community School. Welcome. The house rules are in the chat box, but I'm sure it's gone up again. It's been reposted again. So you can go through it, because there are a lot of chats in the chat box. So it's been reposted from time to time, so you can see that. Coach Payne, I see you. LPSS, Eric Moore, I see you. AUD Junior, I see you guys. Community Junior High School, I see you. Yeah, a lot of people Abeson Comprehensive High School, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you can record, that would be good. You can begin to record now. Thank you. I must also let you guys know that we are streaming on YouTube. This is being streamed on YouTube, just in the event where we exceed the participants, where Zoom allows us to take 1,000 people. So you can inform people to join on our YouTube channel, which is TTN. Mr. Cooper, you can help us click record. That'll be fine. We can begin to record since we started. Thank you so much. Okay, I think we might be ready to go very soon. Ifeswapo Senior Abu, that's nice. Great to see you guys. Junior Grammar School, Idimo, Junior Grammar School, Iju, Lagos Comprehensive High School. Okay. I see a lot of you people there. That's good. That's good. That's good. Thank you all. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for joining. Yeah. So we're just just waiting for more people to join so they do not miss out. So they don't miss out. Right. So it's great to have you guys here. Ijayi Housing Estate to Junior Secondary School, LPSS. Anybody from Igbobi? That's funny. I've not seen anyone from Igbobi. Ipaja Junior College. Ground Rosine, thank you. Anybody from Igbobi? Anybody from Igbobi here? Mr. Balogun, you have your hands up. Can you just do a chat to me? A private chat if that's possible. Estate Grammar School, AUD. Anyone from Igbobi? Igbobi here, I see. Do you have anyone from Igbobi? Yeah. Okay, Igbobi College. I see one person. The Rock Montessori School. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for joining. So sorry that we've kept you for a bit. We just want to make sure that we give you the best. And so we'll start in a bit. Also, is to enable more people joining so we don't start and they're left behind. Right. So yeah, so that will happen in a bit. Thank you so much. Okay, so we can begin now. Mrs. Tommy, I'd like to hand over to Tommy. Mrs. Tommy, yes, you have the floor. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Please go ahead. You can unmute now. Mrs. Tommy, you can speak now.
Okay. Thank you very much. I was trying to unmute. Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Happy New Year. It's great to be back. Welcome, welcome, welcome again. Once again, welcome to this edition. And we are very happy to have you here. It's always great to reconnect with TTN and the teachers. I'm happy to be here. Very quickly, before we jump in so we don't waste any time, I'm just going to share my screen real fast and then we will get into it. Sharing is not turned on. Sharing is not turned on.
You'll be allowed to share now. Mr. Cooper, please.
All right, thank you.
Can you please keep the mics muted, please? Thank you. Thank you all.
Why are you going back now?
Mr. Tommy, unmute and yeah.
My name is Temitope Nweke.
Yes, okay.
Temitope Nweke.
Yeah. Yes, I'm here. All right, so I said, while waiting for the sharing, let's just jump right in, as it's the beginning of the year and everyone is setting goals and evaluating their choices. I thought it would be very interesting for us to play very quickly the Would You Rather game, the teacher edition, the Nigerian teacher edition of the Would You Rather game. So I'll ask you a couple of questions real fast. And all you need to do is just type in which would you prefer in the chat box real quick. So my first question to you is, would you rather have unlimited access to free teaching resources or unlimited internet data for online classes? Let me see how many of us are really paying attention now and participating. Okay, I'm seeing the answers coming on. Internet, unlimited data, unlimited data, unlimited data. Ha! Everybody's picking unlimited data. Oh, just feel for picking unlimited resources. Unlimited data, unlimited data, unlimited teaching resources. Free teaching resources. Wow. Wow. I think I would prefer to have unlimited data because then I can find the resources myself too, right? Okay, so I'll ask another question now. Would you rather teach in a school with state-of-the-art facilities, but a very long commute, or a school close to home with basic facilities? Let me see if I can share now. Yes. And close to home, close to home, close to home. Hello. Okay. So, would you rather teach in a school with state-of-the-art facilities but long commutes, or a school close to home? Okay, I see a lot of close to home. All right. Everybody wants convenience. Okay, next one. Would you rather grade 100 exam papers in one day or prepare lesson plans for an entire term in one day? Which would you rather do? Which would you rather do? Okay. I cannot see my chat box anymore. Abayomi, can you just help? Let's see what the teachers are picking, our colleagues are picking. Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. People are picking prepare lesson plans, grade.
Okay.
Okay, let me see which one looks like. Grade papers, grade 100 exam papers seems to be the
Seems to be the
most.
more ones. Hey,
Yes, grade
we don't
exam
like
papers.
lesson plans though. We don't like lesson plans at all. Okay, so the next question is, would you rather deal with power outages during an online class or noisy disruptions during a physical class? They are both disruptive, but which disruption would you prefer? Which disruptions would you prefer? A noisy class
Power
or power
outages.
outages? Oh my
Uh,
God, a noisy
power
classroom.
outages.
A noisy
Noisy.
classroom can run me crazy.
Noisy. Someone said it can be controlled. Well,
True, but power
power
outages cannot be.
power
See?
outages, noisy disruptions. Power outages seems to win it. Seems to tick it.
Okay, so they would rather deal with power outages than noisy classrooms. And then, would you rather supervise break time or would you rather lead parent-teacher conferences? Which one? Which one do you think you would rather do? Parent-teacher conferences or break time?
Lead PTA. Break time or
Okay. And finally, would you rather have unlimited classroom supplies or unlimited planning time? Unlimited classroom supplies or unlimited planning time? Okay. Can you all still see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, fine. Quickly, let's do one more game, one or two more games quickly. Let's match the actions to the outcome. So I have on one side the actions and the other side the outcome. At the beginning of the year, what are the actions that we need to take at the beginning of the year, this new year, as we're going in? What are the actions we need to take, and what are the outcomes that we expect from taking these actions? Can we match them? I'm so sorry about, I need to, so that I can see. Bam, if you can help with, if you just type your answer in the chat box. Okay.
the screen is up.
My screen up again. Yes, things can see. All right, so can you match the actions to the outcomes? These are actions that we should take at the beginning of the year. Some of them, some things.
Okay, someone says set clear expectations for behavior. For me, build rapport with students and parents. Oh, okay, that's for something else. Our screen is up.
The screen is up. The screen is up. Can you see it clearly now? So when you organize the seating arrangement, what is the outcome of that action? Let's take it one at a time. Anybody?
Someone says it builds rapport with the students.
When you organize the seating arrangement,
Someone said class control. Makes the class welcoming and
makes the class
accessible.
welcoming and accessible. Really? Okay. If you introduce a classroom routine, what does that do? Let's come back to the first one. If you introduce a classroom routine, what does it do? Anyone?
Encourage collaborations. I guess with D, create structure and reduces confusion.
Confusion, yes.
Yeah.
Introducing a classroom routine creates structure and reduces confusion. Fantastic. What if when you conduct an icebreaker game, what does it do? Like what we're doing now, we're conducting an icebreaker game. What does it do?
Okay, someone says encourages collaboration and reduces anxiety.
Okay. When we set clear expectations when we send a welcome message to the parents, what does it do? When we send a welcome message out.
Yeah, a lot of A's. Yeah, builds rapport with
Rapport
students
with
and parents.
students. Yes. And then when we set clear expectations for behavior, what does it do?
Okay. So I said establishes a positive classroom environment and makes the classroom welcoming and accessible.
I think makes the classroom welcoming and accessible is when you display student work from last year. When you display student work from last year, it makes your classroom welcoming, accessible, and all of that as well. Setting clear expectations for behavior will establish a positive classroom environment. Everybody knows what they're meant to do, when they're meant to do it, how and what is expected of them. So thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. With that, very quickly, I will hand over back to Mrs. Okeowo. Thank you so much. And once again, welcome. Welcome to this training today.
Thank you so much, Tommy. Thank you. I'm sure we all enjoyed that wonderful icebreakers. Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. If you can hear me, please put something in the chat room that'll help me know that you can hear me very quickly. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. So welcome and Happy New Year. I hope this year brings you renewed energy, fresh perspectives, and countless moments of inspirations in and outside your classroom. That's one of the reasons why we're here today. So quickly, let me inform you that to take today's welcome address is no other than our Executive Director of TTN and also the MD CEO of Medical Group, Dr. Mrs. Kaindewani. I'd like you to go to the chat room and help me welcome her. Her visionary leadership, her passion for excellence in education have been a driving force for TTN. So please go to the chat room, help me welcome our Executive Director of TTN and the MDCEO Medical Group, Dr. Mrs. Kaindewani. You're welcome, Dr. Kaindewani. Good morning, ma. Good morning, Dr. Wani.
Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? Awesome. Happy New Year. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you, ma.
All right.
We can, ma.
People are muted. Okay. Awesome. I'm so glad to be here today. I just want to appreciate you, people of the most noble profession. Clap for yourselves. I know you can't unmute, but just go ahead and just give yourselves a round of applause. You're amazing, amazing. It's awesome. I'm so happy. Thank you, Tommy, for that icebreaker. Thank you, Abayomi. And I'm just here to welcome you all. I would have wanted to do a bit more, but we just didn't want to keep you for too long. And we have an awesome training coming up on differentiation. So I'm just going to welcome you guys, and I want you just relax. Get a cup of tea, of coffee, sit down, curl up on a sofa somewhere, and just have fun. Learn without stress, even as we go into today's training. So I'm just going to, just a very short message from me. I don't want to just appreciate you, our dearest TTN network family, transformational Teachers Network family, good morning. It's an absolute honor and joy to welcome each and every one of you to our very first program of 2025. We call it our Web Day. Welcome, everybody. As the executive director of this incredible network, I'm thrilled to see so many passionate educators. Right now, we're about 1,000, and we know that some other people will be joining us on YouTube. It's such an honor, and I'm so thrilled to see so many passionate educators and leaders gathered here today, united by a shared commitment to transform education and to nurture the next generation. Today's training on differentiated learning is a testament to the heart of what TTN stands for. TTN stands for empowering educators with the tools, knowledge, and strategies to meet the diverse needs of all our learners. Differentiation is not just a method, it's a mindset. If you take nothing else today, I want you to say that to yourself. Differentiation is not just a method. It's not just, the way of teaching. It's actually a mindset that you all must adopt. It's about recognizing the unique potential within each student you teach and tailoring our approaches to help them thrive. I encourage you to approach today's training with curiosity and a willingness to reflect on how you can adapt these principles to your own classrooms and your schools. But as we focus on equipping ourselves to better serve our students, I want to take a moment to emphasize something that's equally important. It's your well-being, my brothers and sisters. Your well-being, education. Educators are often unsung heroes. We pour out our time, we pour out our energy and passion to make a difference in the lives of others. Guess what? We give so much of ourselves, sometimes a bit too much. And it's easy to lose sight of our own needs. So let me remind you, even as we, prepare ourselves for the new term, I want to remind you, you cannot pour out from an empty cup. I want you to say that to yourself. I cannot pour out from an empty cup. Self-care is not selfishness. Self-care is essential. It's the foundation that allows you to bring your very best self to your students, your colleagues, and your families. Whether it's taking time for a quiet moment of reflection, whether it's pursuing a hobby that brings you joy, or simply just getting enough rest. Sleep is important. Rest is important. Self-care is an investment in your longevity and effectiveness as an educator. As you absorb the strategies and insights from today's training, I challenge you to think about how you can implement them in ways that align with your own well-being. Be intentional about setting boundaries. You need to set boundaries. You need to set guardrails. You need to know when to say no, even politely, to your bosses. When it's like, honestly, my mental health is taking a hit. I wish I could add this. It is the teacher that is alive or the leader that is alive that can lead or teach. You need to be able to set boundaries, communicate those boundaries politely. Seek support from your network, your families, external support. Seek support. But I want to also assure you, TTN is here to support you. TTN is not only about professional growth, it's also about building a community that uplifts and sustains each other. In the spirit of transformation, let this year be one where we're not only transforming the lives of our students, but also we transform how we care for ourselves. Let us be examples of balance and resilience for those we lead, inspiring them, not just with our words, but with the way we actually live our own lives. I just want to say once again, thank you, educators. Thank you for your service. And thank you for being part of this amazing journey with TTN. Your presence here today reaffirms our shared mission and gives me great hope for the future of education. Together, let's make 2025 a year of impact, of growth and renewal for our students, our schools, and for ourselves. I want you to enjoy the training today, and may it leave you inspired and empowered. Remember, TTN is here for you every step of the way. Thank you once again, and God bless you. Thank you so much. Bless you. I appreciate you all. We're already 1,000 people are joining our YouTube channel right now, and you are going to have an amazing time. I'm going to be handing over to someone I've known for quite a while, Mrs. Awe Joseph. We call her Awe Joseph. She is an awesome, awesome teacher, and a very experienced teacher who has risen, having taught practically all the different sections in the school, from EYFS to primary to secondary. She's risen, and today she's an assistant head of school at one of our schools under the Meadowhall Group, Lagos Prep School. I am so proud to have Tonya Awe Joseph teach us today. She's an amazing trainer, very experienced, and you're just going to have a ball. Can we just, even though we are muted, I want you to just give her a round of, send her flowers in the chat. Send her, claps and flowers in the chat. Thank you so much, Tony, for always being there for us when we call upon you. So are we ready? Yeah, I'm seeing the flowers. Great. Beautiful. Claps, flowers. So over to you, Tony. Thank you. I'm looking forward to this. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wani.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to be here this morning. We're all going to be learning together. It's not just from me, it's collaborative learning this morning. So please feel relaxed. We're going on a journey together. Some of the experiences that I've been able to gather in the process of being a teacher, I would share. I would also give us some insights. I have some props here to show how we can even use some form of improvisation to help us in the classroom. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'll be sharing my screen now. And the first thing I'll be saying is Happy New Year. I'm excited to have you. I also pray that 2025 will be a beautiful year for every one of us. And it's such an amazing thing to start on this note, in the new year. There's no better way to start the year than learning, because when we learn, we improve. When we learn, we grow. And so we are here to learn together, right?
Yes, we are.
Yes. So like I said, Happy New Year, everybody, and cheers to a prosperous year. Okay, so we're going to do some icebreakers. I'm sure during the holidays, we relaxed. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, or makes Jane or Jill a dull girl. So I have some movie characters here, notable figures. And let's see if we can identify them. Let's see if we can identify them maybe in the course of watching different movies. So we have the first person, the second person. You can put your responses in the chat room, if you can recognize them. Okay, so I have Manuela. What of the first picture? I can see Manuela. Yes, a lot of people can identify Manuela. What of that lady that is on the grassy field? The Sound of Music, Maria. Okay, all right. Okay, beautiful. I can see that we enjoy watching movies and we enjoy, yes, so Maria from Sound of Music and Emanuela from the Angel comedy. I have another one, let's see. Can you see that figure? And the other lady. We're on the next slide now. Can we identify the man and the lady? Mr. Bean, Mr. Bean, Mr. Bean, right? And who is the beautiful lady? Yes, I've seen Malala. Yes, so we can identify them. Thank you. Well done. I'm going to unveil now Mr. Bean and Malala. Fantastic. Now, let's see how we can connect these characters to what we want to learn today. Now, out of all these characters, which one will be more, would learn better through role play, outdoor experience, singing? Role play, outdoor experience, singing. Maria, 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 Maria. Yes, because in the movie The Sound of Music, Maria was a singer. She taught the children how to sing, and she was always outdoor. Fantastic, Maria. Let's try the last icebreaker. Now, out of these three characters, who would learn best with social issues, politics, research? Malala, 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 Malala. Fantastic, fantastic educators. We are all doing so well. I'm super proud of us. It shows that we are current and we don't just work, we also relax. We take time to unwind, just like Dr. Wani advised us this morning. Let's take time to unwind and, relax and get ourselves, refreshed through other things. Beautiful. So I have my special key here. Anytime I jingle it, it means stop. We are moving on to the next thing. So I'm jingling it now. And we are moving on to the next activity. Fantastic. So I'm going to be sharing a short personal story. About 23 years ago, I met a young girl called Aisha. Sorry, I forgot her name, Aisha. So Aisha she lived in a home where they only spoke Hausa. And she had been in school for about 5 years because she had done the nursery class and then she moved on to primary 1. I joined that school in second term and I noticed she just couldn't get on with what everybody else was doing because of the language barrier. She couldn't read as well. And, she just went on like that. And for me, I felt, no, a child cannot continue to suffer this way. So collaboration was one of the strategies that I used. I can't speak Hausa even up till now. So I had to look for a colleague that could speak Hausa. And the colleague was a mature nanny. I got permission from the school authorities and, so she would come in from time to time when she was free, to translate whatever was being taught in class to Aisha in Hausa. Another barrier was that she couldn't read, and so she was introduced to phonics. Gradually, before the end of second term, she started reading 3-letter words. By the time we finished year 1, she had actually caught up with the rest of her classmates and was reading. She was reading simple sentences, maybe not as vast as some were, but she had started reading and she was beginning to do things independently. Sometimes in around about 2019, 18, I ran into her mom and herself and discovered that she was studying law. Today, she's a lawyer and a graduate. Someone that could not speak English is now using English to defend people in the law courts.
Awesome.
This is what differentiation can do when we help the children, when we have the right mindset to work with the children. So this personal story, I hope, will inspire us to want to differentiate for our children. It's a very, for me, anytime I reflect on it, I marvel and I'm happy that, that this happened. And so we can all do it. It's achievable. It's not a difficult thing to do. So we're going to quickly look at some, look at the objectives, and then we'll look at some keywords. So today's objective is to deepen our knowledge of differentiation through scenarios and storytelling, because we're going to look at some scenarios. And then we're going to explore strategies for carrying out effective differentiation in the classroom, right? So now let's look at these keywords. Which one of these keywords or some of these keywords come to mind for differentiation? You can type in the chat room. So we have creativity, interests, needs, strengths, flexibility, harshness, positive mindset, traditional. So you can type in the words that resonate with you that link differentiation: creativity, interests, needs, strengths, flexibility, harshness, positive mindset, traditional. Okay, so I'm seeing interest, I'm seeing flexibility, I'm seeing creativity, I'm seeing strengths, positive mindsets, okay? Fantastic, good responses. I'll give us a wait time of about 30 seconds. And once my key jingles will stop. Positive mindsets, flexibility. Go in, go in, go in, and stop. All right, let's see. Let's see the answer. So the answers will pop up. They will pop up now. Okay, so we have creativity, we have interests, needs, strengths, positive mindset, flexibility. Now, traditional, you can see the sad face. We can be traditional if we want to practice differentiation, and we can be harsh if we want to practice differentiation. So I'm going to talk about strengths, and I'm going to talk about needs. So going back to the story I shared, the strength of the little girl was Hausa. So I leveraged on her strength by connecting with her through Hausa. Her need was she wasn't able to read, and the need was addressed by introducing her to phonics. And so collaborating with someone is flexibility. Collaborating with a nanny. Someone might have said, oh, what would a nanny do? Never look down on anybody. Every resource in the school setting is important. Every human resource is important. And so we need to be flexible. And you must have a positive mindset. I felt it was doable and we ran with it. Creativity is, thinking out of the box. I felt, collaborating and all of those things, brought about creativity. And of course, there was no form of being traditional there. That's not how we do it. Once you say that's not how we do it, it stops things from happening. And of course, you can't be harsh towards children. You have to have genuine interest at heart. Okay, so we're moving on. Now, I have another set of a picture here. Now, this picture requires that all these animals climb a tree to be able to pass the test. So the examiner said, for fair selection, everyone has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. So we're going to be coming up with words or phrases that, that capture this. But guess what? You're going to use Mentimeter. Now, the link is in the chat room, so it's easy for you. Just click on the link. Once you click on the link, you can type in your word, what you think. If you think it's, it's impossible, if you think, oh, it's unfair, whichever word comes to mind about the picture, please type using the link of the Mentimeter game, and we would see a collage of words in a bit. So you can click on the link in the chat room, and then we would see some of our responses. What comes to mind with that? Okay, you can type in. I can see unfair, inequity, inconsiderate, unkind, wrong approach, not standard. Someone wrote, I want to believe it's undoable, informal, lack of empathy, unkind, fantastic, traditional classroom, beautiful. I love your responses. These responses show that, we know that this is totally unacceptable. Inconsiderate, fantastic, fantastic. Unfair. For those on YouTube, you can also type in. The link is there. And I can see some people are using the chat room as well. Inappropriate, unfair, wrong approach. Thank you very much. And the list goes on and on and on. Wow. I'll just give us like 10 more seconds. The collage is beautiful and colorful. Thank you. So we're going to move on from this activity now and continue with the training. Okay, back to my screen. Good. So the summation of what we just did is everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. So we can't use the same approach for all our children. We can't judge child A.
Tony, your line is going off and on.
Really?
Yeah. Am I the only one? You seem, in fact,
I'm not.
Can
you hear me, please? Please let me see a yes in the chat room. If you can hear me, yes, 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 yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the feedback. All right, so like I said, we can't judge child A with child B. We must use different approaches in reaching our children so they can learn optimally. All right, so we're moving on. Thank you for your responses. I can see that you can hear me. All right, so type in the chat room, what is differentiation to you? What does it mean to you in your own words? Type in the chat room what differentiation means to you. When you hear the word differentiation, what does it mean to you? diversity. I'll be reading out your feedback. Handling children with different approaches, separation, accommodating individual differences, meeting different needs, dealing with children according to their needs, meeting different learners' needs, flexibility. Thank you. All right, I'll take about 4 more. The responses are super fast. Fastest finger. Identifying the different needs of students, individual differences at different levels, considering human and individual differences, using different approaches, variety, different methods for each learner, identification of learners' needs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm jingling the key. All right. Okay. So thank you, your feedback, very positive. So what's differentiation? It is an instructional approach that creates a dynamic learning environment where every student can thrive, where every student can learn. It's about tailoring teaching and learning to the individual needs of students. You tailor it to their needs, to their strengths, to their interests, so that they can have the opportunity to succeed. So that is differentiation. And I do have, reasons why we need to differentiate. It addresses diverse needs. It fosters active engagement because you don't want your learners to be bored. It promotes equity and inclusion in learning. When we do all of this, you accommodate all the children, you make sure that they are learning actively, and you are promoting equity in your classroom, no segregation, everybody is included. You are not leaving any child behind. Furthermore, every child matters. Anytime we differentiate, we are making sure that we are not leaving any child behind because every child matters. That one child, even if all your 50, 60 children get it and one child doesn't get it, let's say you have a class of 80 and 79 children get it, one child is not getting it, you can't sleep as a teacher. You should make sure that you reach out to that child that can't get it. Every child must get it. Okay? Now, I have some definitions here again, but we all have our different preferences. So type in the chat room, out of all these words, all this collage of words, which one resonates to you best? These definitions or phrases that we have on differentiation, which one resonates to you best? Beautiful. I can see learner-centered, a lot of learner-centered, a lot of learner-centered. Beautiful. Wow. Most people think it's learner-centered, and I like that. Wow. Learner-centered, learner-centered. Based on learners' needs, interests, and style. Learners' interests. Learner-centered. Learner-centered. Every child matters, learner-centered. The foundation of teaching. Based on learners' interests. It's learner-centered. Wow. So a lot of us feel, we prefer, our preference is learner-centered. The only way to reach every learner, learner-centered, learner-centered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm back. My key is jingling. Now we're going to be seeing adaptive learning. Now, being in the 21st century, technology is also another tool that we can use, to reach our students. Now, I might be in a school where technology is not really, really advanced. I remember long ago, I wanted to introduce technology. And so what I did was I collaborated again. So what I did was I brought a TV from my house and a laptop, and I used in my classroom. But I didn't use alone. I worked with other colleagues in that same team. And so we took turns to use the TV and laptop, to expose children to technology. So we didn't just say, oh, because the school didn't have it, we won't be able to do it. Now we have phones, we have devices, that we use personally. So even if we don't have, so much access to technology, we can use our devices, personal devices, we can collaborate with our colleagues. And I also know that Lagos State is doing a lot in the area of technology. We appreciate Lagos State. A lot is happening now,
Yes.
with the Excel, some children are using devices to learn. So technology helps to also differentiate. And the best way we can do this is, it can give children activities targeted at their levels or at their strengths. So if a student is struggling, the student can start from the very basic, from the foundation. If a child or a student is advanced, the child might then be given a more accelerated form of technological activity. So this is how technology can help in differentiation. But let's be flexible. Sometimes we don't even have online activities. We can use offline. Offline activities can help, to make this happen. Okay, let's move on. Now, differentiation has 4 elements. Initially, 3 were introduced, then the learning environment was introduced. So we have content, we have process, we have the learning environment, and we have the product. I'm going to be explaining the 4 elements. So when we talk about content, those days that we used to write our lesson plans in hard books, we would say the subject matter. So the content is the subject matter, what the students will learn. And we can differentiate what they would learn, because a child might be introduced to material that is more advanced. Some groups of children might be introduced to the same material, but in a stepped down form. So maybe some children are reading it as a story, some are reading it in strips or comic presentations or pictorial forms. And that's because we want them to be able to access the material at their level. Some other children might access it through singing, through songs, because that's the only way they can learn. Yes, we can do that with our children. Anyone can sing. We can sing with our children. We can pass on the information, to our children. I remember when we were learning the periodic table, the elements, we learned it with songs in school those days. And that was the content, the subject matter. But we used singing, to be able to remember the periodic table. Now, the process, how students learn, that is the manner, the approach we use. So we can put our children in groups. Even when we have, very large groups of children, large classes, let's say 80 to 100, we can put them in groups of 10, and we can have group leaders amongst them. Those group leaders, teachers can have a mini chat with them, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes before class, and explain what they're going to do. But that structures the classroom better, and children learn a lot from each other. I'm a product of Federal Government Girls College Shagamu, and it's a government school. Those days, we were close to 45, 50 in class, and math was a struggle for most of us. So we had some key students that were put in our groups, were put into groups, and we had about 5, 6, 7 students that were very good mathematicians. They would work with the class teacher or with the math teacher, and we would break up into groups and they would explain to us. And that was how we passed our egg. Most of us were able to learn from our classmates because they had, the teachers noticed that, well, these ones are catching on and they can explain it better to the rest of the group. So we can use groups, projects, and talking to partners, working with partners, so that is a process of learning. Now, the learning environment, that is the setup of the classroom. For example, you want to teach children about maybe feely objects. You can use soft materials like toys. You can bring balls to the classroom. Even if they don't have their own ball, you can bring yours. You can use objects like this to teach children. You want to teach them about a visit to the beach. They don't have their swim trunks. Why don't you wear your own hat to class like this and show them, where am I going? Where do you think I'm going today? Oh, you're going to the beach. When you do things like that to your children, they learn better. They feel happier. We can use objects like, egg trays to, so you set up your classroom in a way, in a manner that, children can feel, they can touch, they can see, and all of these are resources that are within the house. So you don't need to wait for the school to provide these things. Now the products, how the children will pass on what they've done, right? Most of us might want to differentiate, by, okay, group A will do maybe the A part. Certain groups of children will do the B part because maybe B part is a bit tougher than the A part, and certain groups of children might do the C part. But some children cannot even access those worksheets. Some children might find it difficult to write in worksheets. Some children might want to present it by verbally telling you, and then you do the recording. You can write it down, you can scribe because they find it difficult to write. Some children might want to sing it to you. Yes, I've learned the periodic table, and the only way I can remember is by singing it. Some children might say, oh, the best way I can present it is to use flashcards, put some flashcards together and do a presentation. Some children might want to do PowerPoint presentations. Now, all of these methods are assessment methods that children can use in giving, the outcome of what they have learned. So we're going to be seeing a quick mind map that, that just captures what I just said. So let's say you want to teach on adjectives, for example. And the content, you could decide to use PowerPoint for a group of children. Some children could use videos to learn. Some children could use stories. You can tell them stories. And in telling them stories, once upon a time, Tara was given a blue bag. Mom asked her to go upstairs to get her red shoes. By the time the children learn from stories, they can identify the adjectives from the stories. Then the process, it can be role play, it can be group work, it can be working with a partner, it can be technology, it can be word hunt, it can be going outdoors. All of these are the process or the manner in which the children can learn. Then, like I mentioned earlier, the learning environment, you can place objects around, go and get the yellow and pink toy, go and get the blue key, go and get the transparent bottle, and so on and so forth. Go and get the white remote. As they get all of those things, you are enforcing and reinforcing the knowledge of adjectives that you are teaching. And finally, when they're going to do their, their activity, it could be a rap song, it could be a song, it could be a drama, a skit, it could be write-ups, it could be worksheets, it could be your tiered worksheets that's, that's okay, group A would do the part A, group B would do part B, group C would do part C. So these are the different examples and ways that we can differentiate in the classroom. Now, I'm going to share more strategies with us. But before we get to strategies, I would look at some scenarios. Now, these scenarios, I want us to, fastest finger first, we're going to be, decoding if the process, if the strategy used was differentiation by content or by process or learning environment or product. So I'm going to read to you, and then you can, put your answer either A, B, C, D. You don't need to write differentiation by content. Just put the A or the B or the C or the D. So I'm going to read the first scenario to you. In a history class on civil rights movements, Mr. Johnson wants to teach all his students to understand the key events and figures of the civil rights movement. So the first approach he used, the advanced learners would analyze excerpts from Martin Luther King Jr.'s speeches, and they would write a critical response. The on-level students or the middle achievers will read an article that summarizes the movements using timelines and guided comprehension questions. And then your students that are not yet there, they are going to watch a short video about the movement. So which strategy has been used here? I can see A, differentiation by content, A. Fantastic, fantastic. I can see lots of A's, and the answer is A. Well done, everybody. Fantastic. Okay, let's see the next scenario. In a writing or creative writing class, Mrs. Oguchi is having a creative writing class, and she allows her students to work in different environments or zones in the classroom. So there is a quiet zone for students that need focus and they want to work independently. There is a collaborative zone for students to brainstorm and share ideas in small groups. And there is a resource zone where the students get one-on-one from the teacher. Which one is it? We have A, and it is differentiation by content. I'm seeing a lot of A's. Okay, now C is coming. Differentiation by learning environment. Let's see. Is it A or C? Is it A or C? Is it A or C? The answer is differentiation by learning environment, because she set up zones, corners in the classroom. So it's differentiation by learning environments. When you tweak your classroom environment, to accommodate learning, and the environment too can be outside of the classroom. You can decide to take children outdoors. They can form a big circle. They can sit on the grass. They can form a big circle and, do the concentration game. You've taught them about nouns. You want them to remember concentration. Are you ready? Now we're going to be naming places, and each child is saying, places they know. You're reinforcing what you've taught them on nouns. Or we're going to be naming animals, and each child says fox, dog, cat. The person that loses concentration or who was not able to mention the animal is out of the game. It's a fun way of learning. So differentiation is easy. It's very achievable, even with minimal resources. Okay, let's look at the next scenario. Now we do have a science class. They are learning on water cycle. Mrs. Adebayo teaches about the water cycle, and she wants her students to engage with the material based on their learning preferences. So the visual learners engage with digital drawing tool, which they would label. The auditory learners listen to a narrated story about the water droplets journey. The kinesthetic learners, they participate in hands-on activity using models and water to stimulate evaporation. Okay, I'm getting differentiation by product, by products. Are we sure it's products? We're also getting differentiation by process. By process, that's the B part. Differentiation by process. By process, that's B. Okay, so many B's are in. Many B's are in. A few D's. And the answer is by process, the manner in which they learned. Yes, the children's learning style was used, to engage them. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well done. All right, so we have one more scenario, and now it's a literature class on character analysis. Mr. Dowda assigns a project to assess students' understanding of a novel's main character. The first option is to write a character analysis essay. Some children are to create a visual character profile using images and text. And the last group of children will perform a monologue or create a video diary as the character. So which method, which element is in use here? I have D's, D, that is differentiation by product, by product, by product, by product, by product, by product. And I think we are correct. Well done. You're all wonderful students. You're all wonderful students. Now we're going to watch a video. And this video will be taking us through strategies for differentiation. Now, it's one of the strategies, and then we'll see some other strategies. So we're going to watch the video. It's just about 4 minutes. Please note the different learning styles.
Student learning styles. This video will explore the 7 different learning styles with a credit to Howard Gardner for his work. A brief
Please type yes if you can hear the video so that we are sure. Please type yes if you can hear the video.
Student learning styles. This video will explore the 7 different learning styles with a credit to Howard Gardner for his work. A brief definition of learning styles would be the preferred method of learning and processing information for students. Before investigating each style, let's answer the question, why are student learning styles so important? As teachers, it's important to know your students, especially their strengths. Teachers should want to know what is the best way to get an individual student to process and absorb information. Teachers can then use that information to help their students succeed academically. The first learning style we will begin with is interpersonal. Interpersonal learners benefit from interactions with other students. These learners will play off the ideas of others. So, develop small study groups and peer-to-peer tutoring sessions. To accommodate these students, view your classroom as a community of learners and avoid tedious lectures. Present opportunities for these students to work and learn from groups of others. Interpersonal learners have excellent communication skills. These students will one day pursue careers in teaching, counseling, and in sales. Next up, intrapersonal learners. Intrapersonal learners are also called solitary learners because they prefer a learning environment without interaction. As a teacher, allow these students to set goals and tasks for themselves, as well as letting them choose their own topics. These students will benefit from several different types of learning models: blended learning, personalized learning, a flipped classroom model, and independent learning models. Try and find ways to allow these students to study quietly and free from distractions. These students often grow up to work in positions where they spend much of their time in a cubicle Intrapersonal learners pursue careers in data analysis, research, and as security guards. Moving on to kinesthetic learners. Kinesthetic learners are also called physical learners because they enjoy movement and exercise as they learn. As a teacher, try and give students the opportunity to walk around and stretch, and provide class activities. Now, some courses are better designed to allow teachers to provide kinesthetic activities in the classroom. When it comes to instruction, incorporate hands-on learning activities, use manipulatives, and different projects. These are the students you will find playing a number of different sports, and they are very physically active. These students will pursue careers in sports, labor, and in construction. The next learning style is verbal. The verbal learning style is also known as the linguistic learning style. Verbal learners make most out of both the written and verbal word. Look to facilitate roundtable discussions, classroom debates, and more sharing of ideas. These students are natural-born speakers and will excel when given a chance to verbally express themselves. Therefore, give these students the opportunity to present in front of their peers. These students are often the ones that will argue a teacher at any chance they get. Verbal style learners often find careers in politics, writing, and in speaking. Continuing forward, visual learners. From my experience in the classroom and through years of conducting student learning style inventories, I can say visual learning style is one of the most popular learning styles. Visual learners prefer to learn through flowcharts, diagrams, mind maps, and many infographics. I myself am a visual learner. That is why I paint pictures with these videos. For my case, and the case of many others, information is learned through space and direction. Visual learners get careers in video, art, and architecture. They have great spatial recognition and are able to visualize information on a large scale as well as on a small scale. Sixth on the list is logical. Logical learners are sometimes called mathematical style learners. Math itself is all about simplification and reasoning. When teaching, look to give logical learners the clearest explanation possible. These types of students enjoy working on problems and figuring out the answer to the problems. They prefer lessons that are very objective in nature. Provide information through bullet points, to-do lists, and give students a chance to think strategically. Also, logical learners get very engaged with difficult problems. Most of the time, they find careers as scientists, mathematicians, and detectives. These are your students that excel in math and enjoy a good mystery show. And the last learning style is auditory. Auditory learners are sometimes called oral learners or even musical learners. These types of students make the most of sound, rhyme, jingles, and music. Now, anyone who loves music understands that music at its best creates an emotional connection. The emotional connection to sound and music leads to better comprehension. Auditory learners often find work as sound engineers, musicians, and even songwriters. This is the last learning style on the list, but definitely not the least important. Each learning style is important to the individual. So right now, I just want to say thank you for your time, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Thank you.
Beautiful. All right, before we move on, I'd like us to write one learning style that we picked from the video. One learning style that we picked from the video. Please put in the chat room, one learning style that we picked from the video. Logical, visual, logical, auditory, visual, kinesthetic, Okay, interpersonal, intrapersonal. Fantastic, fantastic. Fantastic. Interpersonal, intrapersonal, logical, kinesthetic, verbal, and visual, auditory, verbal, interpersonal, logical, auditory. Thank you. I'm going to stop us now. All right, the next question is, which learning style enhances collaboration? Which one enhances collaboration? Which enhances collaboration? That is working with other people. Which enhances collaboration? Interpersonal, 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 interpersonal. Okay, interpersonal, fantastic. Okay, I have a student in my class that likes to maintain his space and would really, really get upset when people encroach in his or her personal space. What would be that student's learning style? What would be that student's learning style? This student doesn't like encroachment of space, wants to keep to himself or herself. Intrapersonal, 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 intrapersonal. Fantastic. One more to go. I have a student in my class that likes to move around, very busy, energetic, very, very busy, would like to move around all the time, you know, to touch, to feel. How will I be able to reach this student? Kinesthetic, 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 fantastic. 2 thumbs up for you. And my key. Well done, everybody. You're fantastic learners. Now we're moving on. Let's look at some more strategies for differentiation. All right, so questioning. The Bloom's taxonomy is a tool that we use for questioning. When we question our children, you know, we start from remembering to understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Now, the Bloom's taxonomy starts from the least to the greatest. And so questions that tend to ask children to remember or understand are not very tasking questions. So they've read a story, you're asking, what was the name of the boy in the story? His name was Tom. Where did Tom live? He lived in the woods, okay? Questions like, what setting did the story take place? Maybe because it was mentioned, you know, the story took place in the woods. So it shows that they can remember and they can understand. Now, by the time you get to applying, or you're beginning to ask questions that are a bit deeper, you know, more layered. So for example, the question could be, show me how 2 plus 2 will make 4. Show me how 2 plus 2 will make 4. So in this instance, the child might need to get 2 balls and 2 balls and say 2 plus 2 makes 4, or draw 2 balls and another 2 balls, or get 2 counters and another set of counters to show 4. So that's application. When they start to analyze, then you might want to say, yesterday, mom got 2 apples and dad gave her 2 more apples, but I thought the answer was 5. Am I correct? And the child would say, no, you are not correct, because the child will analyze. You are not correct because 2 plus 2 will make 4, not 5, right? So you're beginning to analyze. And when you want to evaluate, you begin to compare. Can you compare, you know, you might want to compare a story that has been read in literature, let's say in secondary school, compare the story of Things Fall Apart with the story of maybe Lord of the Rings, you know, so they're looking at characters, they're looking at situations, they're looking at, okay, what's different? Oh, Things Fall Apart happened in Africa. Lord of the Rings did not happen in Africa, you know, things like that. So they're comparing, they're contrasting, that's evaluating. And by the time they have to create, now that is the highest level of questioning, because at that level, they have good understanding, they can apply, they can analyze, they can evaluate, and now they want to create. Okay, you've read about Okonkwo in Things Fall Apart. Can you create a character similar to him? Create a character similar to Okonkwo, meaning that the child will have to look at the characteristics of Okonkwo in Things Fall Apart, and would have to have analyzed Okonkwo, know that, Okonkwo is quite, feisty, he gets angry easily. Okonkwo is the kind of character that, that fumes or rages at, the slightest provocation. And so that child will have to use the knowledge that he or she has gained to create a new character, that is tailored after Okonkwo. So when you are questioning, you have to make sure that your questioning is targeted at your students. Some students might not be able to create. They might just be able to give you recall answers, like what was the name of the character. Some students might be able to apply, some might be able to analyze, some might be able to evaluate, and so on and so forth. So you must make sure you consider your students when you are questioning during teaching and learning. And also give them wait time. Wait time is giving children or students about 5 to 10 seconds to process what has been asked, so that they can give robust answers. They can gather their thoughts together and come up with something that is logical and robust. But if you just say, give me the answer now, it might not be as robust as it should be. For grouping, you might want to group the children within ability groups, mixed ability groups, interest groups. And like I said earlier, if the class is large, you might want to put them, maybe they are 10 in tens because there are 80, maybe 8 groups of 10 children or 10 groups of 10 children, and you have group leaders amongst them to work with them and support them. The group leaders will be amongst the students, and you've worked with those students, you've already coached them on what to say and how to go about it. And so it makes teaching and learning easier. It makes you able to reach all your children. Then another strategy is outcome, or using tiered activities, that is staggered activities. I mentioned this earlier. So you might have a worksheet that is sectionalized into A, B, C. They don't have to do all A, B, C. Some groups of children might do the A part, some might do the B part, and some might do the C part. And the reason behind it is because the questionings are, they come in different forms. The A might be the least challenging, the B might be a bit more challenging, and C might be the most challenging, right? So the children have the autonomy, they pick what they feel comfortable with. Sometimes you might think a child is a low ability child, but has really understood that lesson and might say, I would prefer to do the B part today because I can access this. So it gives them the autonomy and they feel confident, they do what they feel confident to do. And then students' profile. When you look at students' profile, you're also looking at their learning styles, their, the way they learn, from what we had watched in the video, are they visual learners? Are they auditory learners? Are they kinesthetic learners? Do they like to work alone or independently? Do they like to collaborate? And so on and so forth. Then for formative assessments, this is ongoing assessments. Like in the course of this training now, I've been asking us questions as the training has been going on. And why am I doing this? To ensure that we are on the same page. So when you question as the lesson goes on, that's formative assessment, because you are feeling the temperature of the room. You are making sure that things are going as they should. Now, Students can also learn with peers. It's a form of formative assessment, and you can let them collaborate with their peers and ask, maybe in pairs or twos or threes, and ask each other questions about what is happening. They can assess themselves and they can self-assess, right? So we can have peer assessments, we can have self-assessments. Then scaffolding is giving support so that students can learn. Gradually, after giving support for some time, the support can gradually reduce. When you scaffold, it helps to break down complex tasks into simple tasks for students. It might be a word bank, it might be a prompt, it might be one-on-one sitting with a child. Scaffolding can come in different forms. It can be, you, the teacher, interfacing with the child in class. It can be that the child has some resources that he or she can refer to support in answering the questions. So these forms of support are scaffolding. And gradually, students begin to get more confident, and you might reduce the scaffolding. And then individual plans. So some students might not really be at the level of the class at all. Like the student I mentioned earlier that I taught years ago, she wasn't at the same level. And so she had a plan. I had to come up with a plan for her, that would help in, supporting her. And so others were not really learning phonics at that level, but she had to learn phonics. So her plan was to learn phonics. And part of her plan was to have an interpreter that would speak Hausa to her. Now, I've also had a student in the past that came into year one, but came at a level of not writing, not being able to hold the pencil. And so we started from, kindergarten, what the child would have learned in pre-nursery. So the child had to learn how to scribble with fat crayons and fat pencils. And the child had to learn how to hold the pencil gradually, and eventually the child got to the level of the class. So for such children that maybe you find out that, oh, maybe they can't see well, they can't hear well, they have one challenge or the other, they might need a form of plan, individual plan, so that they are included within the lesson. It could be that, maybe the right ear works better, so the child will have to sit in the position where the right ear faces the teacher most of the time, or the child can't see well from the back, and parents, maybe they're struggling to get glasses. So as a teacher, you move that child forward. That is also differentiation. You are differentiating for that child. And then, of course, improvisation, that is making use of resources. Sometimes you don't have those. I mentioned a few of these earlier, so maybe making use of things around you. You might want to bring things from home, like I showed you the teddy. You might not have it in class. You can bring yours from home. You can bring maybe sun hats like I did earlier. You might want to show the children, an experience at the beach, and you might do this and it just transforms the class. That's improvisation. You might use pairs of socks to teach children how to, to count in twos. You can also use socks. I'm going to be wearing my socks now, to engage in puppets, in puppet talk. They can talk in with their partners. You can do puppet games. Yes, if you don't have, you can create yours. I just used the pen in doing this. Pen. I didn't have a marker at home, and I got an old sock, from the house, wore it, and you can bring things like this to school, make the children to interact. So can you say what the rabbit said in the story? Oh, I'm so hungry, I'm famished. I need to eat some carrots. And then the other child might be another character. The other child might be another character and show what the character said using, things like this. So these are ways of improvising. These are ways of differentiating. These are strategies we can use to help our students to learn better. There are many, many more. I only just, brought out this few, but I feel, we can start with this. these are things we can start from. We don't have to do everything at once. You can just decide that, oh, I'm going to pick one, I'm going to pick two, I'm going to pick three. I'll start with one, and then gradually I'll move on to the second, and so on and so forth. But please feel free, to use these strategies in your classes. Now we're going to do a quiz. And that quiz is mainly on the strategies. We're going to use Mentimeter again. I will be posting the link so we can get onto it. And let's see how much of this we can remember. Let's see how much of this we can remember. So the link is out there. You can start joining. Please let know if you are able to connect by typing in yes, yes, or yes, yes, yes. Yes, I'm seeing the yeses. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, the quiz will start soon. But I want you to all join so we can experience it together. Okay, please keep joining. Okay, wow. So Mentimeter, unfortunately, we're still going to use it. It's just that we've exceeded our limits. We're over the numbers, but we will still go on with the quiz, howbeit. 2 learning styles I know are, please type 2 learning styles you know in the chat room. So that's what we would do. Initially, you would have had to just, put in your answers and it will show, but the answers are showing now because we've exceeded our limits. So 2 learning styles I know are visual and auditory. You can put whichever one. Okay. Visual and auditory, visual and auditory. Thank you, thank you, thank you. visual and auditory. Visual and auditory. You can put any other two that you know, that you can remember. Kinesthetic and auditory. I'm going to shake my key in a bit. All right, so we move on to the next question. Name two strategies for differentiation. Name two strategies for differentiation. Let's have those two strategies in the chat room. Two strategies for differentiation. Two strategies. You know, we've learned some strategies just now. Grouping, scaffolding, learning styles, questioning, scaffolding, improvisation, peer assessment, self-assessment, student profile, grouping, storytelling. Fantastic, fantastic. I'm seeing beautiful responses here. Well done. Well done. Okay, the next question will soon come up. What's the best tool for differentiating questioning in the classroom? I mentioned that tool and explained it extensively. What's the best tool for differentiating questioning in the classroom? Talked about understanding, remembering, applying. Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy. Fantastic. Bloom's taxonomy. Well done, well done. Okay, the next question is coming up. I can still see Bloom's taxonomy. My keys waving, meaning stop. Next question coming up. How does wait time help students during questioning? I talked about wait time. I said it's for about 5 to 10 seconds. How does wait time help students during questioning? How does wait time help students during questioning? It gives them time to respond. It gives them time to respond, to think. It gives them time to give good answers. Gives them time to think, to process. Beautiful, beautiful feedback. Fantastic feedback. It gives them time to organize their thoughts. Fantastic. Well done. Well done. Time to process. Well done. Next question coming up. Next question coming up. We're doing pretty well. AFL shows that we got most of what we learned today. How does scaffolding support students? How does scaffolding support students? Talked about scaffolding. How does it support students? Scaffolding, now we're on scaffolding. How does it support students? scaffolding, provides support, learning support, very good. It steps up their learning. It gives children or students support and guide. It helps them to understand the content. It helps to boost their confidence. It gives support, develops them. Fantastic. Learning support, learning support. Support, 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 support. Fantastic. Let's see. So, yes. It breaks down complex tasks into manageable steps. And of course, it gives them support. Well done, well done, well done. The next question is coming up. How can you use group work effectively to differentiate? How can you use group work effectively to differentiate? How can you use group work effectively to differentiate? It helps learners to develop motivation in class. How can you use it? It makes them to think right. It makes them to develop from known to unknown. It helps to support learning. It develops motivation in class. It helps to process questions and learning materials. Okay. I'm scrolling down to see more responses. It gives them time to learn in groups. Okay. So the answer is to when you create groups with mixed abilities and assigned tailored tasks. So the how is what we need to know. You can help the students when you put them in groups. How can you help? How does it help them? So you can, how can you use it rather? You can put them in mixed groups. You can put them in differentiated groups. You can put them in interest groups. You can put them in groups based on their learning profiles. So that is how you can use it. Now, the next question will be, how can you use it in a large class? A class that, maybe you have 80 to 100 students. How can you use grouping? How can you use grouping? I mentioned that. So how can you use grouping in a large class? How can you use grouping in a large class? That question is coming up now. Okay, so what's the... We're coming towards the end of the quiz, please. Okay, so what's an effective way to use grouping in a large class, which was what I said earlier. So what is an effective way to use grouping in a large class? I mentioned the strategy. I also mentioned how, even when I was in secondary school, this was used. So how can you use grouping in a large class of 80 to 100 students? How can you use grouping in a large class of 80 to 100 students? Let's see your responses. Any feedback? Hello, am I still in the meeting? Yes. So how can you use grouping in a large class of 80 to 100 students? Okay, beautiful. Grouping them in tens, grouping them in tens. And don't forget assigning a leader, a group leader, grouping them in tens, mixed ability, in tens, in tens. Beautiful, beautiful. Grouping them in tens and having someone leading the group. And you can rotate that. That can be rotated, different students have different strengths. So if someone is the leader for math in that group, somebody else can be the leader for English, somebody else can be the leader for science. So the children all feel involved, right? Beautiful. So grouping them in tens and assigning group team leaders, as well as, giving them tiered activities. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. I'm waving the key. All right. Now, this question is, how can individual plans or individual educational plans support differentiation? Remember my students that couldn't speak English, that's, how can it help students? How can individual plans help students? That student that, just can't access what everybody else is accessing, how can individual plans help them? How can it help them? What does it address? Maybe I can break down the question. What does it address? It helps to identify their strengths, their needs. Fantastic. It helps to identify the student's needs and strengths. It helps collaboration with others, yes, because you won't work alone when you're using the plan. It helps flexibility. It helps in collaboration. It's targeted at the child's need. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Well done. 2 more seconds before I wave the key. So the last question now is for you to describe this session, the session we just had. Describe it. Describe the session in one word, one phrase. Impactful. So click on the new link for the Mentimeter and describe the session so we can have a collage like we did at the beginning. I'd like to see your responses in the Mentimeter. I know some people are already using the chat room. That's fine. It breaks the numbers that would come to the Mentimeter, but then let's have the chats. Awesome, enlightening, educative, impactful, beautiful. More words. Mesmerizing. Oh, wow. Excellent. interesting, informative. Fantastic. Let them keep coming in. Fantastic feedback. Fantastic feedback. So one takeaway from today's session, one key takeaway from today's session, what are you taking away? What are you going to start practicing? What will you be practicing come Monday? One key takeaway. Now, what will you start doing? One key takeaway. Okay, you're taking away creativity. What are you taking away? What will you start doing? One key takeaway. Let's type in the chat room or using the Mentimeter. So someone said collaboration. Yes, we need to collaborate. Collaboration is a key takeaway. Scaffolding and individualized learning. Not leaving any student behind. Learner-centered strategies, creativity, effective group work with a large class. Scaffolding, individualized learning, group learning. So one key takeaway is differentiation is not just a method, it's a mindset that recognizes the unique potential of every pupil and it would help make them thrive. Every child matters. Inclusive teaching, flexibility to meet every child's need, collaboration, engage I can't see that well. Engage my kinesthetic learners more. Fantastic. I'll be more intentional about my students' individual needs. Every child is unique. Making teaching and learning process inclusive for all learners. Keep pupils engaged by using different methods of teaching so as to meet their different needs. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Inspired me with more methods to get my teaching impactful. Beautiful. You cannot pour out from an empty cup, making classroom flexible. No child should be left behind. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I believe we've all had a beautiful session today. Now I'm ready to take questions. If we do have questions in the chat room, Mr. Abayomi, please would you help, with reading the questions and then, so I can answer. If you do have questions, please put them in the chat room. Mr. Bayomi. Okay, I would check on my other device to see if I can get the questions. I'm not sure Mr. Bayomi is there. More explanation on scaffolding. Okay, So scaffolding, like I explained, is a support method. Now, let me take you back to building. You know, when you see houses or buildings that are being erected, sometimes you see some supports, you know, like metals around them. Sometimes you see some form of metals around the building, you know, while the building is still being, being built. Those metals are called scaffolders. Now, as teachers, we can scaffold for children by, there are different methods of scaffolding. You can sit with them one-on-one if they need help. Some students don't need one-on-one. They might just need, maybe they struggle to spell. They might just need a word bank, you know, a collection of high frequency words where they can go to and pick. Some students, the scaffold they need is a buddy, another student that they can always refer to, talk to, and ask questions. But the idea of scaffolding is to make things a little easier so they can access, right? So that they can access what has been given to them. And gradually, as they gain stamina, as they gain confidence, we can remove the scaffold. Just like with the buildings, when the building is completed, at the end of the day, you won't see those metals anymore, right? So that's what scaffolding does. So scaffolding can be that the teacher sits with the child. It could be another student that will support the child. It could be that the child needs, you know, resources like words, phrases. It could be that the child needs some flashcards. It could be that the child needs pictures, you know, anything at all, but you have to know what needs that child has, and then you provide the scaffolding. So sometimes
Okay, there's a question here.
Okay, thank you.
Some subjects have curriculum that builds up. In a class where a child is supposed to have previous knowledge, how do I go about teaching that child in that class, knowing the school curriculum is time-based?
Okay, so the child does not have previous knowledge, but the child needs to access the curriculum. So such a child might need an individual plan, because that child is not at the level of where the other children are at. So you want to bring the child up to speed, you know, to be able to at least get something. I'll go back to the example of a child that could not read in year 1 and could not even speak English. So the child had an individual plan. The individual plan was an interpreter to help to speak to that child in Hausa, and the child had to learn how to begin to read. And so we started from the phonics that the child should have learned in nursery. So that was the individual plan the child had. And gradually, the child got up to speed and was able to begin to access the curriculum. So if a child is far behind, the child might need an individual plan.
Okay,
Yes.
Another question. Vito Jacob says, these strategies in differentiating in diverse classrooms. As a class teacher, having achieved this in my class, how can it be achieved in other classes that I am just a subject teacher and not a class teacher?
Okay, so if you're a subject teacher, but you're able to achieve it in your class because you've developed a rapport, a connect with your children. So you need to establish a rapport with the children in another class. And so you can start with simple things, like as simple as, you know, your starters can be for the children to say something about themselves, something they like, something they enjoy doing. As you gather this information about them, you're beginning to know them. And as you begin to know them, then you would be able to develop strategies in helping them. Another thing you can do is, you know, having like a star chart corner in a subject teacher, and, you know, because it's a subject teaching class, have a star chart corner, you know, or a corner where, you know, they daily they post, or every time you go there, they post one thing I like is, or one, my best way of learning is, you'll be surprised. So you get a lot of information from them. And as you begin to get all of that, you would get more information about those children. Another thing is to collaborate with their class teachers. So don't work alone. Collaboration is key. Collaborate with their class teachers, find out how they learn best. When you know how they learn best through the teachers that work with them directly, just like you are working with another class directly, then it will be easy, you know, to know the children's strengths, needs, and interests.
Okay, I don't know, I think this might be the final question. Festus Obo is asking, when you provide a scaffolding, like using a fast learner to help a slow learner and discover that their relationship or process is affecting the fast learner, what do you do?
Okay, so maybe a fast learner is being maybe overwhelmed by support. So you can stagger. You don't have to use that same fast learner all the time. You can use you will definitely have different fast learners in your class. You know, like I said earlier, even in the grouping, you might want to, you know, vary group leaders per subject. So you might not want to be fixated with just one student working with that student. You know, you can vary, because when you do vary, then it gives the students time to do other things. So maybe somebody would work with that, you know, you can do a structure. It could even be on a weekly basis or bi-weekly. You know, this person would work with, you know, with this student for this week, another person next week, so that your fast learners, you know, would not be stifled. They would still have time, you know, to do other things. So you just want to vary so that it's not the same person all the time.
Do you want one more question?
Yes, please.
I think there are two more very important questions there.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to take them? Abami, let me just quickly take the questions that I think. One says, I have children with dyslexia in the class. How do I handle them? And then there's one more that I think is important, so that we would have catered to every section. For a child of 4 to 5 years old that finds it very different, that is very different, and finds it difficult to understand what is being taught, what do I do? So how do you basically differentiate for younger children who is very different, most likely has some kind of special needs and, you know, or just learning difficulties? So that, and then with dyslexia. So I think you should talk about how to differentiate for children who have some kind of need. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wani. Okay, so for dyslexia, one key differentiation for them is making whatever they're going to be reading must be very bold. You know, so if other students are reading texts or materials at maybe font size 16, 18, theirs might be as large as 42. Another thing is when you use color-coded background. So the background can be yellow, right? The words on the yellow background, the words are black, but they stay on a yellow background. It helps them. And then you can place a ruler on, because what they struggle with is that the letters are jumping. So a ruler is placed on the bold letters. The background should not be white, should be yellow, you know, and then a ruler placed across the words, a transparent ruler, please, so that the child can read. So the size, the front size, the background, and placing a transparent ruler on what the child would read would really help. Another way of helping the children with dyslexia is now we can use a bit of auditory, audiovisual. So they are reading, but they are listening. So by the time they are reading and listening at the same time, even if what they are reading isn't making sense, what they are listening to is making sense. So it helps them and supports them in, with their struggle with reading. Then for maybe a child that is just, special, different, you need to first understand that child, what's the child struggling with. If you are able to maybe discover that the child likes activities, then you might want to make sure that the child has things to use, hands-on resources to use. And some children respond well to pictures. Some children respond well to objects like counters, colorful objects. When they have those kind of objects around, so their own learning will be different because they respond to kinesthetic things, touching, and things like that. If the child likes to touch, feel, then you can give them, soft objects, hard objects, things like that that would help them to learn. And for some children, it could just be, maybe they don't talk. They're not very verbal. Then it could be pictures, but they can hear. It could be pictures. So they pick the picture and they can show you their moods, that show happy, sad, and hungry, things like that. And then maybe you're teaching them about shapes. Make sure that the shapes are there. This is square, show me square, the child will pick it. The child might not be able to talk. Maybe that's part of the challenge, but the child, most times they can hear, but they may not be able to talk. But because they can respond to what you're saying and they can see what they are doing, then they would respond to using hands-on resources, pictures, concrete objects, and so on and so forth. So those are strategies that you can use for students that are special. And if the student maybe struggles with writing, just can't write, let the students, if the student cannot write but can talk, the student can say something and use scribe for the students or record what the student has said. You can also take pictures of what the student can do. Those are ways of recording what a child is able to do at that level in early years.
Okay. Mrs. Owe Joseph.
Yes.
Awesome. Can I just hear the claps? I know you can't clap. Can I just see the comments, the flowers in the chat? Can we appreciate her? Can you hear me, Ms. Awe Joseph?
Yes, Dr. Wani.
You've been awesome. I just want to say something before I hand over to Abayomi. There are some lovely questions. Honestly, I really love to get the questions. That is where the learning really happens. There's this question I saw now, and I think it's so key. But because of time, we won't be able to take all these questions right away. Okay, Mr. White Joseph, do you want to? I think you still want to talk about the resources, and
yes,
then I say a few things about how to, get answers to all their questions. Please go ahead.
Okay. So thank you for being a very, very good audience. We all learned together today, and we will be gifting you with a summary of today's training. It's a PDF. You would see the link in the chat room. In it is contained all the things we've discussed today, as well as part of Dr. Wani's thesis, because we didn't have thesis, our doctorate thesis. She had also explained extensively on differentiation. So you will find that within it. And part of it, again, is a demo lesson plan that can help you to plan, because differentiation starts from planning. It starts from planning. You can't run away from planning. I know that when we started the icebreakers, teachers were saying they would prefer to mark than plan, but actually the planning is an integral part of differentiation. Once we plan and plan and replan and think of our students, then we will know how to go about differentiating better. So you've been gifted with a resource, click on it and download and use to help in differentiating better. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Mrs. Awe Joseph. Just been awesome. So I was just going to say, then thank you for all the resources we're going to be given. Now, I was going to talk about the fact that there's some awesome questions. If we had more time, honestly, I would have wanted to take all the questions. I saw this one that says, says, how do I attend to slow learners without dragging down the fast learners? These are some of the things we've spoken about, right? But sometimes, it takes us some time. For some of us, we learn in different ways for the whole thing to come together. There was another question regarding the Bloom's taxonomy, all the different levels. How do I take a child through all those levels to get from, the beginning where they get them to recall to where they're creating? So I want us to understand, and Abayomi will be talking a bit more about that. That is what TTN is about. We would like to take your questions, and all you need to do is to register and become a member of the Transformational Teachers Network. You will be told how we actually have a platform that is just, you have such free resources. You are not paying a dime. You just become a member. You have access to a lot of things. Of course, we then have the subscribed members where you then get access to even more. So I'm going to hand over to Abayomi. Very soon, maybe in the next 2 weeks, we're going to have a session or so. That's for the subscribed members, where we'll take all your questions. We will go into differentiation, maybe depending on the different sections of the school. We will look at EYFS, how you differentiate in EYFS, how you differentiate in the primary, how you differentiate in the secondary. We're going to have a deeper lesson on differentiation. So Abayomi, over to you. Let people know what they have access to, both on the general platform and on the subscribed platform. So thank you, everybody, for being a part of this. Thank you once again, Mrs. Awe Joseph. God bless you. Abayomi, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Wani.
Yeah. Abayomi, you are muted if you are there.
Thank you so much, Ma. Mrs. Okewu. Thank you so much, Ma.
This is Okewu that's supposed to.
Yes, Ma.
Okay, over to her. Sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Wani. Joseph, that was awesome. Well done, and well done. And to the teachers, I also want to say thank you and well done. I saw how engaged you were. That just showed how interested and how interesting the session went. Well done to everyone. I'm wondering, for those of you that are here for the first time, I'm sure you are blown away. I also want you to think about what we have been doing before today. Teachers that have been attending TTN trainings will say and will testify that we have been giving out excellent and absolutely excellent training at almost no cost. Now you're wondering, who is the mastermind behind all of this? In the beginning, I introduced Dr. Kehinde Wani, but I have the pleasure and privilege of introducing the Executive Director of Transformational Teachers Network, who is also the MD CEO of Meadowhall Group, Dr. Mrs. Kehinde Wani. Please go to that chat room and put appreciation for her. Her passion for educators, her passion for education, her passion for the Nigerian child is driving that energy for her to ensure that we as teachers, as educators, we have access to excellent training, excellent resources, have access to be able to go into our classroom and ensure that what we deliver to those children, our children, are excellent. So let's go to the chat room. Let's appreciate her. Dr. Kehinde Wani, we appreciate you. We say thank you. We say thank you for all you have been doing. Thank you so much, Dr. Wani. We love you.
Thank you. Appreciate you all.
Yes, ma'am. And on this platform, I believe we have a board of governors represented. Please, if you're here, could you kindly acknowledge? Please, thank you.
So do we have any
Okay,
of
we'll
our
just
board
wait a
members?
bit.
TTN board members. And I must say that TTN is 1 minute. TTN is a subsidiary of a parent company called ERIT, Education Reform and Innovation Team. But I don't know if you have any of our board members in TTN right here. Anybody? Oh, I'm sure. I think 1 or 2 people joined, but maybe they weren't able to stay to the end. So you can go ahead. Anyway, love from the board. Love from the TTN board and from the ERIT board. I can hear someone. Okay, is that Ms. Okewo? Please go ahead, Ms.
Yes,
Okewo.
yes. All right, ma. Thank you so much, Dr. Wani. And so quickly, I would like to talk about the benefits of TTN. I'm sure I don't need to say too much, but as I speak, I would just like to advise Mr. Abayomi to kindly put the link to join our community. Please drop the link in the chat room. The first benefit is being a part of our community. You will be there, you get access first-hand information regarding sessions like this that we have. You will have we have the opportunity to register and be a part of it. First-hand information, you don't have to wait for any other person to tell you. Questions will be dropped there, responses will be given. You'll be in a community where you have like-minded people, you share ideas, collaborate, share knowledge, share experiences, and most of all, learn from each other. So Mr. Bayomi would have dropped the link in our chat room now. Please go there, connect to be a part of those chat groups. Once you're there, you have access to what we have to share with teachers. Mr. Bayomi, can you kindly confirm if you have dropped the link in the chat room?
He has.
Yes, the links are there.
Thank you. Thank you. So please, fastest fingers, quickly go in there. Let's link and be a part of that exciting community. We also have our virtual meetings. Dr. Wani just mentioned something now. We're going to be meeting to further talk about, address questions raised. However, that will be for the paid members. I'm going to talk about benefits for paid members, but being a part of our community, you have access to the trainings we have. You have access to our quarterly workshop. You have access to resource sharing. Mrs. Awa Joseph just shared a resource with you. We have a resource repository where we have all the resources we've been using for TTN and more resources dropped there for you to access and for you to use. We also have an opportunity to create a sense of belonging in our informal gatherings where we share ideas, we enjoy ourselves, we have fun. We had the Christmas gathering. It was virtual, but it was quite exciting. We talked about Christmas decoration. And we really, really enjoyed that. And most importantly, you have access to our annual conference. You don't want to miss that. We've had record of excellent delivery all the time. This year's own will not be different. If you're going to be a paid member, guess what? You just have to pay 24,000 naira per teacher. And for a school, if you want to register your teachers, over 20 teachers, you get a 10% discount. You have to agree with me. This is coming at almost no cost.
Annum.
Yes, per annum. It's coming at almost no cost. So additional benefits will be one, you have access to 8 trainings annually. You have TRC, 2 TRC and approved workshop per year. You have certificates for all training programs. So for those paid members, for the trainings they've had, they'll get certificate for it. If you're not a paid member, you've had access to the training, but you will not have a certificate. For paid members, you also have access to peer mentoring. You also have access to smaller cell groups where you have conversations, ask questions, look into projects, share ideas and learn from one another. You also have official membership card and email signature. You do not want to miss that. You send an email, you have that e-signature that you're a member of TTN, it's going to take you places. Just knowing that you're a member of this wonderful community, people will want to read your email. People will want to listen to you because they know that you've had access to excellent trainings. You have access to discussing with people that understand what education is about. You also have discount on annual conference. I talked about the conference. You have it been discounted for you if you're a paid member. And of course, you have discounts from TTN partner brands like Choice Dentals, Smiley Kids, Kenga Ventures, Lacey outlets. All you need is just tell them that I'm a member of TTN, show them your membership card. And with that, you have discounts on the things you want to purchase. You don't want to miss out on that. Please confirm to me that you've gone to the chat room, you've joined our chat group, because that's the beginning where you start having access to this information I am sharing with you. And then I will quickly go on to talk about the programs we have so that you don't get to miss it. The first one we have coming up will be one on games and games for learning. That's going to be handled by a professional. You don't want to miss that. It's going to hold in the month of March, particularly the 8th of March. And then we have leadership. We have the ones for school owners and school leaders. School owners and leaders, you do not want to miss this. Last year's was absolutely amazing. We got wonderful testimonials from attendees, and I must tell you that you do not want to miss this. What I'm going to advise is that once you get our invite, make sure you register on time. It's usually it's not open. I mean, we're talking about school owners and school leaders. It's limited. So get your space on time so that you don't miss out on this. And again, like I said earlier, our annual conference will be holding this time in May, in the month of May, 3rd of May specifically, we'll have our annual education conference. Please and please do not miss it for anything. You can go onto our page and you see things that we have on an annual conference. Be a part of our Instagram handle, be a part of our online group, the WhatsApp group, so that you get more information. Having said this, I think I'm done with talking about TTN. And Dr. Wani, once again, we just want to say very big thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do as well.
Thank you, Ma. Mr. Awe Joseph, thank you for your presentation. We really enjoyed it. Mr. Bayomi, I'm done. Thank you, everyone. Educators, thank you for being a part of us.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Dr. Wani. Because of you that we are here. Thank you so much for your love, your passion. You know, Dr. Wani is the one that is always struggling that teachers should be in the same place as engineers are looked at, as doctors are looked at. You know,
Yes.
a teacher is better.
Yes.
It's the teachers that teach these people now. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you, teachers. Thank you for your service. That's something that Dr. Wani too always encourages us to say. Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. Thank you so much. Teachers, thank you once again. There's the registration for the March program is being put up. The link is there, so you can quickly, take advantage now and quickly register for it. It's first come, first serve. Our feedback form is also in the chat box. You might also want to quickly take advantage of that. Thank you, Francis, for putting those ones up. So the feedback form and the registration forms are all in there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Igbobi College. I'm sure they are here. Thank you, Kerrydale. Thank you, Silvercrest. Thank you, Queen's College. Thank you, LPSS. Thank you, Meadow Hall. Thank you, Government College. Thank you. Thank you, District 5, District 4, District, everybody. I see you. I see you all. Thank you so much. You want to say something, Dr. Wani?
Oh, no, I said beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I see everybody. District 1, District 4, District 2. Thank you all for joining. People are asking for the replay of the link. The replay is on our YouTube, which is streaming anyway. So that video would be kept there, so you can always go back to look at it, to watch if you want to. So it's on our YouTube channel, which is Transformational Teachers Network. The link is also in the chat box. You can subscribe to it. And there are lots of other trainings there. Past trainings are on there too, so you can go back and refresh yourself. So thank you so much. It's been great having over close to 2,000 people here and on YouTube. We are excited to have you, and we would add you up on the group as soon as we are done here. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Abayomi. Thank you. I want to thank you, my team. Abayomi,
thank you so much,
thank you from Canada. You are just in it. It's Okelwo, Francis. Thank you. Who am I missing? Mr. Awe Joseph, thank you for joining today. Tommy.
Princess.
Thank you. God bless you all. Enjoy the rest of your evening or afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye, Ma. Thank you, Dr. Wani. Bye. Bye.